start recording. And one of the things that's really exciting about this is I know that learning abroad is a very popular topic for transfer students. And but it's also something that takes quite a bit of planning ahead of time. And so I'm really excited that we can reach out to you all kind of as new transfer students, as well as have that opportunity to we have two transfer students with us today, Isla Miller and Vlada, and they'll talk about their experiences. And I think that's going to be really exciting for you all to hear from some transfer students who've actually done a learning abroad. How is it done? You can do it. That's one of the goals for this. And so I can share some information from learning abroad. And if Catherine wants to come up and kind of introduce herself, and we'll go from there. So I'm sharing.
I'll take my mask off.
Yeah, and so I'm sharing that.
For the camera. So. Okay. All right. So hi, everyone. Hi. For those of you who are here, my name is Catherine Witzke. I am a coordinator in learning abroad. And so I work with all kinds of students who are interested in participating on one of our programs. And so I wanted to just give you a brief introduction to what we have. And see if I can put this in read mode so it's full screen. So I put a little like kind of high level summary of learning abroad and what we're trying to do, especially for transfer students, to make our programs more accessible during your time here. And so before I go into that, I guess I should kind of talk about what study abroad is with you. And so, oh yeah, great. Paul's just gonna add a few extra people to the room here. So yeah, so we are the study abroad office on campus. And so we help students access study abroad programs, global internships, global research experiences, and service learning opportunities as well. We, during the pandemic, added quite a few offerings. I'm going to admit someone that are virtual as well. So we have on-site programs in other countries, and we also have virtual global programs that are available. All of our programs are credit bearing, and that gets to the first point on this kind of virtual handout, which is practicality. We really focus on making sure we're offering practical academic options for students in our office. Everything is credit bearing. Everything either can count towards a major, a general education requirement, or some other degree requirement. But we see most students pursuing major credit. There are upper division credit options available if you're already past your gen eds and intro electives for your majors. The best way to really walk through that process is to meet with someone in our office, because the information isn't always super accessible on our website. And so it really does take coming in and talking to someone. We can really tailor options that fit with what you need to satisfy. The other piece to know about our office is that we have a lot of flexible options. So a lot of people, when they think of an international experience, they think, oh, that's going to be a year-long experience, or that's going to be a semester-long experience. And while there certainly are those types of opportunities available, it's actually the minority of programs that we have. Most of our options are over the summer. And we even have a few options that are as short as a week long over fall and spring break. So I know a lot of our transfer students will share like, hey, you know, I don't really have time to do like a full year experience. That's okay. We have lots of short-term options, and the most popular time for students to go abroad is actually over the summer, because it really works really well. And then affordability. We have a large number of programs that are similar to the cost of being here in Salt Lake City, taking classes here on the main campus. So while there definitely are programs that cost more, again, coming in and talking to us is a really great way to identify affordable options if that's something that you're looking for. The other thing is that we award students over $250,000 a year in scholarships. And there's another close to $250,000 a year that students will obtain from external sources as well. So there's lots of scholarship money. And then I think two of the biggest pieces about our experiences that I think are particularly exciting, because we're on this like really big campus at the U, is that you can build connections. It's hard to like sometimes I think make friends or find your community here at the U because it's such a big school. And so I do think especially our faculty-led experiences where you're going with a group of students and a professor are a really unique opportunity to kind of build your University of Utah community, make friends, and in particular, get to know a faculty member really well. Maybe you're thinking about going to graduate school, or maybe you're thinking about going on to your career. Either way, getting to spend in-depth quality time with a professor can really be a really important step in making those next steps possible. And so you get to do that on our faculty-led programs. And it's also a really key component of our Asia campus experience. So you might not know, but we have a campus in Incheon, South Korea. It's significantly smaller than the U. There's only about 500 students on that campus. It's a really intimate environment where you get to know students and professors really well. And so that's another great opportunity to kind of find your U community. And then finally, last thing I'll note is, and I think our panelists will probably talk about this more than I will, but studying abroad can be an incredibly professionally rich experience. One of the things that we see on the national scale is that only about 1 in 10 American students will take advantage of an international experience. And here at the university, it's even less. And so it really does make you stand out on a resume. It's something that not every student takes advantage of. And it gives you a unique perspective when you go on to work as a professional, because you may end up in a company where you're working on a multinational team, where you may end up, working and being able to provide a completely new perspective that people who've never left the United States won't be able to provide. And so, yeah, companies are really looking for that these days, and employers. So, but I'll let Isla and Vlada probably talk more about that. So yeah, that's just kind of an introduction to what we do. I think the biggest thing is just to come and talk to us. We'd love to give you some more resources, and we'll share a few QR codes later on that kind of go into this a little bit more in depth. So yeah, anything you want to add?
That's great.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna jump into, I think, panelist questions, right, Paul? Yes, okay. Do you want to go for it? I'll pass the mic.
Just move next.
Yeah, and then we can just share here. So again, okay. So we're excited to have now a chance for our panelists to introduce themselves. So Vlada's here with me. Do you want to kind of say a little bit about yourself and
Sure, thanks.
your experience?
Yeah, my name is Vlada Yaremenko, and I graduated from the University of Utah in 2019, in May 2019. I was a transfer student from the University of New Mexico, so I transferred in 2015 for my second year, and I ended up going to the University of Utah for 4 years, so in total for 5 years of my school. And my major was international studies and minor in music. And I did a study abroad, learning abroad program to Munich, Germany. And I will talk a little more about that.
Thank you so much, Vlada. And then Isla, do you want to introduce yourself?
Thanks, Paul. Hi, everybody. My name is Ilay Miller. I am originally from Mexico City. I moved to the US, to Utah about 7 years ago. Then I started at SLIC and finished in 2 years. And then I transferred to the University of Utah, did my first semester there. And then I just learned about the program and left to South America on my second semester at the University of Utah. So I was in Chile, Argentina, and Peru. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Thank you, guys. Those are super cool
There's
experiences.
questions
Yes,
from.
thank you. Yes. So for the next question, I guess we'll just take turns, or if anyone wants to jump out, but kind of what was your experience like? If you want to go into more detail of like, I know Vlada, you mentioned going to Munich, and so
Mhm.
say a little more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe I'll start with, I always wanted to do a study of learning abroad somewhere. I'm originally from Ukraine and I've been in the United States for 11 years, but it's always has been my dream to go back to Europe as a student and do some kind of exchange. And when I started at the University of New Mexico, I wasn't really sure how I was going to afford it. Then when I transferred to the University of Utah, I also wasn't really sure how to afford it because my tuition increased when I transferred here, especially being in a new environment, not having my parents around me. And it was a little stressful just knowing that I don't know how to do this, but then I still had that dream. And finally it was my junior year. So it was 1 year before I graduated. I decided, well, actually it was 2017. I'm 2 years, I guess. And I decided that, this is the year that I want to go to another country to learn. And then it doesn't matter how much it will cost me. I'm so passionate about this trip and learning somewhere else that I want to even take loans for that. But luckily, and I can tell about this later, I didn't have to take any loans to do my learning abroad trip. And I decided to go to Munich, Germany, and it was an exchange for 6 months. So as Catherine mentioned, there's an affiliate, an exchange, and then you can have a faculty-led trip. I did the exchange, which is you basically just go on your own and have to figure out things on your own. For me, it was the more affordable version, and I wanted to stay there longer, and that was the one that was perfect for me. And I did the exchange, and I do not regret anything about that trip. It was incredible because I got to meet people from all over the world, from the United States, from basically all over the world, every continent. Now I have friends on every continent because of that. And I also got very valuable educational opportunities there as well. I actually got to take a class from a professor who was visiting a professor from Ukraine. So I got to learn about the history of my own country in Germany from a Ukrainian professor. I also got to take a German class, of course, but also a culture and literature of Scotland and the globalization and war class. So it was incredible to see the diversity of courses that were offered. And I had to take all my courses in English. So I mean, my German was German level 1, so I could maybe do a 30-second presentation. But otherwise, everyone just felt so welcoming, even though I know there's a stereotype that Germans might not be so nice, but I did not feel that at all. And I just had a blast there. And I wish I could have stayed one more semester, but unfortunately I had to go back to take my classes and graduate.
Thank you so much, Vlada. Isla, do you want to talk about your experience as a transfer student?
Yeah, I actually went with Eccles Global. I'm sorry, my Spanish makes me want to pronounce it differently, but I went with them, and it was a group of 12 of us. And we went to Patagonia, and then from Patagonia, we went to Santiago, Chile, where we were going to be based off living in not dorms, because, people from Chile also could live there no matter the age. So we were with students, with young professionals, with students from all over the world, with French students, German students, students from Chile, Mexicans as well. So it was a very cool global experience living there with the people from all over the world, taking the classes from the University of Utah professors, which I learned a lot, because most of the classes were business classes and my major is communication. So I was not sure about that. I was like, well, I'm going to go with a business school, but I am a communication major. But like they said before, all of the credits counted either for my generals or for, you know, later on, or if I wanted to take a minor, the only thing I would have had to do was come back and take one more credit, and then I could have graduated with a minor in entrepreneurship. There, yeah, I mean, the people that you meet in these experiences are just like the best thing that you can get, because I met this friend, now I call him a friend, that we travel all over Chile, and he actually is a very famous cinematographer from Chile, and he just got a film into Sundance, and he was like, Isla, I'm gonna be in Park City, and I'm like, oh my God, what? From, you know, Chile. And then another girl that I met there, which at the beginning, taking this trip, since it took me a little bit longer to, you know, get my studies going and everything, because English is my second language. I was very concerned about my age because I was a little bit older than everybody else. But everybody was, you know, all of the ages. I was like 21 maybe, and the rest were like 18, 20. So, you know, you get all of the ages. And I became best friends with one of the girls that went in the trip that was 18, and she's going to be one of my bridesmaids in my wedding next year. So, you know, it's like the experiences that count. So,
Thank you. Vlada, for the next question, what do you wish you knew more about when you started the learning abroad process?
Well, first of all, I wish I was better at doing my own research, and my situation is very funny, and I don't recommend that you do this, but if you do, it still can work out. So as I mentioned, I really wanted to do the learning abroad program, and I guess I was just dreaming about it, but I didn't really like started doing research until very late when the semester already started. I think it was maybe second or last week of August. And I saw that there was a workshop, Learning Abroad 101, I think, or just learning abroad how to get scholarships, something like that. And so I decided, okay, well, I'm going to go and see. And so I sat through the workshop. It was very helpful. And then at the end, I was asking, when's the deadline to apply? And they're like, it's next week. And I'm like, how it's next week? I don't know. I don't know anything about, like, I knew I really wanted to go to Amsterdam because I have a friend who did the Learning Abroad program in Amsterdam. But I didn't know the costs. I didn't know anything, how to go or what I needed to prepare beforehand. Would my Pell Grant apply? Would my scholarships apply for that? Because I already had a scholarship from the Humanities College and as well as Pell Grant. And in that 1 week, I had to run around trying to get a one-on-one session with a coordinator at the Learning Abroad. It tried to sign up on all of the documents that I needed to prove that I am eligible to go. And I wasn't an American citizen at that time. I was a Ukrainian citizen, which required me to get extra paperwork as well. So I didn't know anything about that either. I've never had to get a visa to another country. My mom did it for me when we were coming to the United States. So I would just say, I wish what I knew is just that I needed to start the process earlier. And actually, if I was planning to do it that semester, that I have to go in right before or do the research over summer, because I did my semester for spring. I didn't go over the summer, but in Germany, the schedule is such as they don't start classes. The spring semester doesn't start until the end, or maybe April 1st or something like that. So it basically goes into the summer, but at the U it would be considered spring semester. Anyway, regardless of that, I just wish that I would have done my research and actually went to the Learning Abroad and talked to someone to go over what programs are available, what countries are available, how much is the costs, because they have such great resources and they're like a book. You don't have to even do your own research as much as you just go talk to them and they can point you to the right resources. And so I guess that's what I wish I knew more. And then also I wish I knew more about how to apply for the visa, but luckily I was able to figure that out. So
Thank you, Vlada. For you, Isla, what do you wish you knew more about?
Yes, I think it's the same. Use your resources, go ahead of time. And I did talk to one of my community advisors, and I gave him a little notice so he wasn't, he didn't tell me the full details because about taking this class that could give me more credits towards my major. So I was under the impression that just with going and not taking this class, he would be like, oh yes, you just came back from an international or studying abroad program. Okay, then here's, 3 credits. But he told me like, no, you needed to, take the class while you were taking the internship or studying abroad. So what I had to do when I came back, I went to Hinckley Institute, and then I did an internship, which, I mean, it was still good, but I could have saved one more semester. But
interesting. Yes, I would agree that luckily for my major, it's international studies, and I have a culture and identity focus. So it's a little more flexible in which classes you take. And my advisor, she looked at all the classes and descriptions, and she said, okay, well, this class could count for that, or this class could count for that. But it also happened in that 1 week period. I wish I would tell her sooner as well, that she could plan the rest of my semester. So I would advise for sure, start earlier, but don't be like me. But luckily for me, it worked out, but you never know.
Thank you. And so for the next question, and I know that we also asked the audience when you signed up for this workshop, what questions you had, and this was a really common one, was how did you pay for your learning abroad program? Did you receive any scholarships? If so, kind of what funding did you get and how did you apply for it?
Well, for me, so as I mentioned before, I thought that I would have to take out loans for this because you still have to pay the University of Utah tuition, which is about, I don't know how the costs vary every semester, but it's about $5,000. And then you would need the money to travel actually. So that's, I don't know, depends, $7,000 to $8,000 to $9,000 on top of that. Which I didn't have. I had very little savings account and I was very broke. I mean, we are all students. We know how that life goes. But I was willing to take out loans for this because this opportunity is once in a lifetime, first of all. So I would rather take out the loan for this than like for a car or something. This is such a rich experience that you can never replace it with anything else. Regardless, so when I applied for the program, I didn't know how I was going to fund it. But then the Learn Abroad has scholarships available, and I looked through them, and I was thinking, okay, well, maybe I don't qualify for this one, or maybe I don't qualify for that one. But then I spoke to my advisor and I spoke to my coordinator, and they were like, just apply to all of them and see. I mean, it wouldn't hurt. And luckily, I got all of them. So I got 3 scholarships from the Learning Abroad. Then I had my Pell Grant. And then I had another scholarship from the humanities school. So that's how much, 5 scholarships. And I think, and I received another scholarship from my internship with Hinckley. Like Hinckley was offering a scholarship that you could apply for if you successfully complete your internship, and then you could apply. It was Dan Jones scholarship. I don't know if it's still available, but if you do an internship before going on a learning abroad, you can see what other scholarships are available. So anyway, I applied to all of those scholarships and I got them. And I had to pay $1,000 of my own for this trip. And honestly, my spending when I was learning abroad, it wasn't very, oh God, I'm missing out. the English words. It wasn't very conservative. I was buying sandwich in the subway every day, buying coffee, buying croissants, but I was also traveling every weekend. And so even with that, that was all my scholarships was enough for me to pay for the school, pay for all excursions, pay for the flight. So I ended up only spending $1,000 of my own. But I started with thinking, oh God, I will have to take everything in loans. But luckily, I got all the scholarships. But maybe it makes it sound like I get scholarships all the time. But I wanted to tell you that when I was transferring to the U, I applied to 30 and I got none. So that you just have to try and see where it leads you. But I would say start with the University of Utah because this is internal and that's where you can get most scholarships. But there's also a lot of databases that you can apply. And I think the College of Admissions, they have a whole scholarship page that you can search. Also, if you're foreign, you can see if there's scholarship available for your country or something like that. There's so many resources. Just Google scholarships for XYZ students. And that's how you can pay for your learning abroad.
Thank you. Aled?
Yeah, well, I'm just finding out about all of this scholarship. I was like, wow, I'm learning. No, I did have to pay for my own, well, with help of my family. And it wasn't as bad, what I remember, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be because it included the tuition, the flights from Patagonia to Peru, to Argentina, to Chile. The meals, they gave us $2,000 from what we paid. I think it was around 12,000 total. And then they gave us 2,000 for our food, just like you make sure you're not missing money and you're able to eat for like the whole semester. And also they arranged for where we were going to stay, like our dorms, transportation. We had a card that we were able to use the subway everywhere we wanted to go. So, you're not wasting on gas or on Ubers or whatever. Usually, well, at least Chile had the best subway ever, like super organized and easy access to everywhere you wanted to go. The flights were super cheap if you wanted to travel throughout the weekend or whatever. And then after that, when we came back, they actually gave us $2,000 back that we didn't use. So it was affordable. And they also gave us like the books and the classes that we were taking. I mean, it's like one-on-one, like the things that you get from all of these professors that are from the architecture, the best of the best, like to the finance, Paul Brown. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. He's like amazing. And you're taking one-on-one classes with his professor. So it's worth it. I will say it a million times.
Thank you. One of the things that we want to ask too is, how has your international experience impacted you both personally and professionally? So, Vlada?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, I had a little different experience because I had to get a visa in order to go. And unfortunately, there was some delays. And also, that's what the Learn Abroad coordinators tell you not to do, buy a ticket before you get the visa, which I did because I was planning to be in Germany for my German course, which would take place 1 month before. It would be like an intensive course 1 month before the classes would start. So I was planning to be in Germany, I think on March 6th. And I decided, okay, well, I need to move out of my place on March 1st, arrange all for that. But I was waiting from the university in Germany to send me my acceptance letter, which they didn't until February. And the visa takes 4 to 6 weeks. So when I arrived to, I had to go to Los Angeles to get my visa. When I arrived to Los Angeles, the the officer told me that, well, you know, you have to apply kind of earlier. And I said, well, I couldn't, I didn't have the letter. And the University of Utah asked the university in Germany to send it faster, but the German university just didn't. And anyway, so what happened is my visa didn't arrive on time, but I bought my ticket with insurance. So I would get my money back if I had to cancel it. And I would, 1 week before my trip was supposed to come, I would call the German consulate every day and say, where's my visa? Where's my visa? And they were saying, listen, we'll call you, so stop calling us. And well, yeah, this is how it made me, one impact I had on me personally, that I had to be more, I guess, pushy, which I'm not a pushy person, but when you have to get something, you have to get something. And so the visa didn't come, and I ended up basically being homeless. Luckily for some friends of mine, I could stay here for a day, there for a day, but I didn't really have a permanent location. But I think that whole experience, plus I spent a lot of money. They didn't give me back all of my ticket money because I canceled 24 hours ahead. But for international travel, you have to cancel 48 hours in advance for them to pay back your ticket price. So I lost a lot of money there, and I was so scared that I would have to stay in a hotel somewhere and have to pay all my scholarship money that I'm saving up to pay for my German trip. So I don't know, it was such a difficult time, but I think how it changed me personally, it made me much more resilient. Because next year I was going to India for an internship and I had the same problem with the visa. But now I knew how to kind of navigate it and what not to do. That's how it changed me personally. But professionally, I would say that after I went to Germany, it inspired me to do more international things, but not much traveling, but more getting kind of professional experience. So in Germany, it was more focused on studying and understanding academics. And I was also playing in the local orchestra there. I'm a violinist. So it was more, I would say it was more a personal development. And then after coming from Germany, I was thinking, okay, well, now I could actually go to another country and see if I can get another opportunity doing something similar or do something professional. So I did an internship in India. But all of this led me to gaining more experience in navigating the international, the multicultural places. And now I work at the Economic Development Corporation of Utah as a business development manager. So I help companies come to Utah, bring them to Utah or expand in Utah. And a lot of time I have companies that are international coming in. And my experience in Germany also, because I had so many international friends, I noticed patterns about, oh, how would the person from France behave, or how would the person from India behave? And I learned those patterns. And now when I'm talking to these companies and people from different places, I can actually say, oh, well, maybe someone did something, but that's not disrespectful. That's just how they act in that country. Or like, I understand people's behaviors so much better. And I think my critical thinking skills are much better. I can analyze situations much faster as well. So it impacted me tremendously. I would have not been who I am today if it wasn't for this trip.
That's awesome to hear. What about you, Isla?
Yes. It's amazing how much you can learn in such a small period of time. When I first got to Chile and I started working for this, well, the internship was, it was not just studying abroad, it was also an internship. So I had to work for this Costanera company, which it's like the third largest company in Chile. And one of the things that they do, which they needed some help with, was their marketing for their olive oil company and bringing it to the, to the US or Mexico. And I just remember sitting in an office full of men. And even though they speak Spanish and I speak Spanish, it was a little different, how it is here than how it is over there, and the way they speak to you a little bit more fast and tough. And they had this person from Kiwi Limon. I don't know, they're like tasty of videos of Mexico. And it was like my first day. And then the CEO walks in and he said, if you say something in this meeting, I will buy you lunch. And if you don't, you're fired. I was like, oh my God, what? So I am like, I literally just got here. What do I know about olive oil? So I started kind of reading, kind of really listening. And then I gave a couple of ideas. The guy from Mexico, from Kiwi Limon was like, oh yeah, that's great. But what's the question, But the CEO was like, okay, that's good. You were able to talk. And then I learned that you just need to be like one step ahead, and being able to get out of your comfort zone. And even if, what you say or what you do, it's not the right at the moment, it might take you to another place where you might be a good fit for, other people or other departments or other opportunities. So after that, they actually offered me a job to stay in South America with them. And I wanted to stay and not come back to the US and finish school. But I was like, no, okay, I have to go and then maybe, do some freelancing for them. So we came to the agreement that I came back to school. I would work for them remotely. And then I started a team right now I live in LA, so I do some work for them still, and we're still growing as a company. But I also am pursuing my my degree of communications with a company that it's based in Austin. So I do everything remote from then, and it's the best thing. And then, yeah, that was professionally, I learned a lot with them. And then personally, the people that I met, you live with these people and you have so many things in common. I have gone through that coming from Mexico City and being by myself in Utah, and being such a big place, even the university, like how do you start getting to know people? But when you put like 12 students from University of Utah in a dorm that it's full of, people from all over the world, you just become family. And then you start sharing your stories and you start listening to other people's stories. You're forced to empathize more with one another. And I think that opens a lot of opportunities and for yourself as a person, and you grow. Yeah.
Awesome.
That is awesome. Thank you. We'll start with Vlada again. Were there any drawbacks when you were choosing your learning abroad?
No, I mean, the only drawback was that I didn't do the research ahead of time. So, and I finally looked at the countries, because I knew I wanted to be somewhere in Europe. And I looked at the countries list. I saw that Amsterdam was, I think at that moment, 2017, it was about $14,000, while Germany was $10,000. And I don't know if the costs are still the same, but at that point I was like, oh, well, that's a lot of money. First of all, either one, but then Germany is the cheaper one, the more affordable one, but it doesn't mean that it's not as good as the Amsterdam one. And I really wanted to go to Amsterdam, but I'm like, I don't think I can afford it, like it's so much money. And so I remember having to write down what's the benefits of going to Germany, what's the benefits of going to Amsterdam, had lists. And I'm a Libra. I don't know if people believe in it, but we have very hard time deciding what to do. That's my life every day. So big decisions, no. But anyway, so it was really hard for me to decide. And then I finally decided, I'm still going to be in Europe. I did my research about Germany. I had a friend who lives in Germany, and he told me how great it was. And he would actually meet me there if I needed to when I arrived. So I just decided, why not? I mean, I've never thought about going to Germany, but Munich is right in the middle of Europe. So it's the heart of Europe. It's so close to go to Prague. It's so close to go anywhere. So I would be in a perfect place. The university was an amazing university, especially for people who study sciences. It's like one of the top schools for science. So that's how I just decided. And it was a more affordable option. Honestly, that's the biggest reason why I decided on Germany, and I would not regret choosing Germany. It was the best. But that, sorry, I'm trying to put together my thoughts. But the biggest reason why Germany was a good option for me as well is because I did that research prior to choosing and compared. Okay, what's the benefits of this school? Why is the other school? Why do I think the other school is better? I only wanted to go to Amsterdam because my friend was there. She wasn't there at that moment, but I just heard a lot from her how cool it was. It's just no one ever told me about anything about Germany. So I would say just go and talk to people who have done it. For my internship in India, I was really scared. So I actually called all of the past interns who's done the internship there. And I was like, can you meet with me? I want to ask the questions if this is good. And I mean, I'm always available as a resource if people want to ask me, how was Germany? How did you like the university? And I bet you are also happy to talk to students who are considering the same schools. So I was just saying there's no drawbacks in choosing to learn abroad. There's only benefits, and just do your research prior.
Thank you, Vlada. What do you think, Isla?
Yes, I agree with everything Vlada said. Do your research. I know that there's a ton of opportunities, whether it's, something like Vlada did, or whether it's something like I did through the Eccles or the Hinckley, or, virtual. You guys were just talking about that. That's something new for me. I would just go and ask questions to people that have gone. I can send you a bunch of pictures so you guys can see the cool spots. It's always inspirational. But yeah.
Sorry, I would like to add that your biggest resource of other people. So go talk to your advisors, go talk to the coordinators, just go talk to people and see what their suggestions are, because research itself on paper is one thing, but it's learning about how other people have experienced it, because some people might have had bad experiences and you can learn from that as well, like what you should pay attention to more, or what you should avoid. And it just will give you such a bigger picture. And from that, you can decide what you like, what you don't like, and make your decision like that.
Thank you. And so before we get into audience questions, so our last question is, would you recommend learning abroad? And then kind of anything else you'd like to add that we haven't asked already?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I would not recommend to study to learn abroad, because and I meet now I'm not a student, but I meet with students a lot. I'm here on a local board that we have a scholarship. Another thing, so it's not related to learning abroad, but it's also related to international studying. Can I mention that? Yeah. And so I am on the board of the Utah Council for Citizen Diplomacy. And under the board, so a lot of you might be aware that there was a UN conference 2 years ago here in Salt Lake City. So I worked on the planning committee, the youth co-chair for the planning of the conference, and the mayor and her team fundraised a lot of money for this conference, and she had some money left. So she put it all into a scholarship fund. And this scholarship fund is for college students 18 to 32. And what the scholarship does is it will pay for you to do an international opportunity, to go to an event, either it's international related event in the United States, or it's international event related outside of the country. So it's like Expo 2020, it could be Olympics, it could be different things. And there's I think about 6 spots, 6 or 12. This year was different because of COVID, so we had to award it a little different. And this was the first year that we awarded the scholarships. But it's such an amazing opportunity in addition to learning abroad. Unfortunately, you can't use these funds for learning abroad, but otherwise, if, for example, you're thinking of some trip that you'd like to take for a conference or something, that's another opportunity you can apply for. But in terms of learning abroad, I would definitely say apply, even if you have to take out loans, you still should do it. I tell students all the time that, you know, you will never regret doing this. It's one of the best investments you can put into your future, into your personality, into your professional life. And it just will be also a fun thing for you. You'll learn from diverse people. You will learn how other people live. It just expands your mind so much that there's definitely no drawbacks. Even if you come back with debt, it's still not a drawback. You will pay it off. You're still young, so don't be afraid to take risks, and just work with your advisors to see if it fits with your classes. But even if it doesn't fit it, I actually had to postpone my graduation by 1 year because I did this learning abroad, and then I did another internship in DC, and I specifically postponed my graduation by 1 semester so that I could graduate later and actually take advantage of that opportunity. Because once you graduate, those opportunities are not available. So take advantage while you can.
No, I agree with that. And we had a couple students in the chat ask if you
Sorry.
can share that information about the scholarship
Yeah,
images.
absolutely.
So if you you can
I can
email to
email you.
me, and then we're tracking everyone's attendance so that we can share it out. And then if you in learning abroad want to send me any additional information, I can share it with the audience. I can let you know who's attended. Eyelid, what would you say in terms of like drawbacks or anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah, I would definitely recommend, doing this learning abroad opportunity. You meet, like, the professors that I met have helped me a lot after I graduated because they know who I am. You live basically with them for a whole semester. So you see them every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner almost. So the letter of the recommendations that I've gotten from them have been amazing. Sorry, I have like ADD and I get distracted. Yes, we can send you some information about South America. I think Cesar Sanchez is the guy to talk to about Central America and South America. But I will send you the information, Evelyn. But yeah, just the people that you meet and the professors that you meet and the resources that you gather for the rest of your life are so important. And just the experiences when I went and had after I came back, I applied for an internship through the Hinckley, but they hired me basically because I went to South America. They were like, "Oh, we're very interested in same thing, bringing new companies from Mexico, South America. So the fact that you were there working for them, it's important for us. And yes, just do it. You won't regret it." And like Betla said, who cares about the debt? You can pay it off later. And you're still young. And yeah, this will give you more experiences and more job opportunities as well. So that's good.
Thank you. And we saw we had a couple questions in the chat. One is, when is the best time to go on an exchange? I've heard most people say sophomore or junior year. Is it important to save up general education classes to take abroad, or is it relatively easy to take major related courses? Anyone who wants to answer?
You guys are the professionals.
Yeah, maybe I'll come over
yeah.
to that open.
Or I can go this way. And then you can-
Okay. So as an advisor, I would recommend not waiting too long to do an exchange. That's getting we're getting kind of technical. But yeah, some of our programs, like Islay program, for example, offered direct U of U credit. And so you could do the same program that Isla did as a senior theoretically, because you're getting U of U credit, you can stay on track to graduate. If theoretically everything else is done, but the courses you're taking that semester, not a problem. But if you're doing an exchange like Vlada did, it takes a while because, as you all know very well, transfer credit takes a while to process. And so, yeah, so Vlada got transfer credit from her exchange. So I don't recommend doing that as a senior because you will delay your graduation waiting for those transfer credits to get processed. So we can help you identify the experience that will kind of work best given your timeline. But yeah, we have actually the majority of students at the University of Utah who study abroad are seniors. I don't recommend it because you limit your options, right? Sometimes, but yes, you can definitely do that. So yeah, it's kind of like a tough question to answer. There's no like perfect time, but yeah, it depends on the program you pick and everything. But yeah, typically if you go junior year, you have more options than you would as a senior. So yeah, that's that one. And then what was the other question?
Oh, it's right there. So this is
See,
that would be great for you.
oh, and then getting major courses. Majority of our students are satisfying major courses, but you can do general ed requirements as well if you have some left. And actually all of our programs automatically satisfy the international requirement, which is one of the general ed. So if you haven't done that one yet, you can get that through your study abroad, whether you're taking, you know, like in international affairs class or you're taking, you know, like finance. It will satisfy the IR. And then are there learning abroad advisors? Yes, I am one. So yes, there's 3 learning abroad. We call ourselves coordinators, and we advise by major. And so you can come in, tell us what major you are, and then we can meet with you and talk about what options will help you satisfy your major requirements. And we work with academic advisors, like Vlada was saying, when you're getting transfer credit, to plan everything out before you leave to make sure that you're staying on track for graduation. So yeah, you have a plan, you know, you're right on track before you even go abroad.
Some additional questions.
Yeah. Yes, and I let's see if I can share my screen. Let's see. Oh, and then, yeah, we can kind of share this to talk about next steps, kind of what you can do. Well, anyway, I'm not sure how to remote. There we go. So here is like Vlada said, you can do this faster, but ideally you would plan a little bit further in advance. So if you're thinking about doing a summer experience, we recommend starting now. So the first step, if you're looking to meet with me or one of the other coordinators, is to complete Learning Abroad 101. So you can scan this QR code to sign up for one of those sessions. You can do it on Canvas on your own time, self-paced, or you can attend one of the live sessions on Zoom. So we have, and you can talk to someone and ask questions in real time. And so we have live sessions twice a week, and then we have the Canvas option, self-paced whenever you want. So if you want to do it at 2 a.m. In your pajamas, you can do that. So yeah, that is what Vlada was talking about, is this kind of hour-long session where you learn kind of the basics of what the application process looks like and the different program options, credit process, all of that. And then you can meet with me or one of my other colleagues who do coordinator appointments. The best way to schedule that is to either, well, I guess, yeah, the best way is just to email us, and our email is at the end of the presentation, and they also give it to you in 101. So yeah, email our office and we will set up an appointment. And then you can begin your application process for scholarships this semester and over winter break. And then next semester, you would actually apply for your program in most cases, although there are some deadlines coming up even next month for some programs. So yeah, but majority of summer programs are, the deadlines are next semester. And then just a quick touch on kind of how we look at pricing and budgets. So like Eyelid and Vlada mentioned, we look at the cost of the experience holistically. So when we tell you how much an experience costs, we're looking at tuition as well as all of your living expenses. So we look at the whole thing holistically. So this is one example of a program in Italy. It's a semester-long experience for architecture, design, and planning students. And actually ends up being less expensive than being in Salt Lake City and taking classes here for the same amount of credits. So that's just one example. And we have an affordable programs page now. This wasn't here when Isla and Vlada were in school. So if you're specifically looking for programs like this one that are on the affordable spectrum, you can check out that QR code and find a database of those programs by country. And then if you want to start exploring options, I know a lot of students ask like, what countries are available? Where can I go? Do I have the choice to pick the country? Yes, we operate in, I think, over 40 different countries. There are more limitations now because of COVID. So your advisor can talk to you about that, but you can certainly explore. There's actually even a map, an interactive map search, and you can click, like say you want to go to South America, you can click on South America, and then you can see what countries are available in that region of the world and explore the programs that way. So you can scan that QR code to check out our program search. I think I pretty much answered most of those.
And we're about out of time.
Yes.
So thank you.
Of course. Yes, thank you, Isla. Thank you, Vlada.
Absolutely.
I'll put you back on for coming and talking about
No,
your
absolutely. As I said, I will never not recommend the learning abroad program. Like every time I see someone, I'm like, apply for scholarships, go abroad. Like I push students, like I called the embassy all the time. I'm like, no, go, you need to go apply. So, but yeah, it will change your life and it will make you such a more aware person, you know. It just helps you with all aspects of your life. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much for
you for
doing this. And just a couple quick housekeeping items before we let you go. I'm putting in, if you didn't get, oh, sorry, I'll put it in here. To everyone, if you didn't see the meeting link, here's that to get counted for it. And then if Eyelid and Vlada and Catherine, if you all send me information, I can send that out to the people who attended. And again, I think one of the biggest things that came out of this was like, you know, don't be afraid to ask. And so please reach out. Thank you so much. And then I can stop sharing.
Thank